Hi, and welcome to Design It with Tammie Gibbs. I'm Tammie, and today I am going to be showing you a little sneak peek into the way that I create invitations. Um, I'm going to be doing some bulk invitations. We're going to start in Artistly. I'm going to create some artwork, and then I'm going to show you how to take that artwork and create 5 different invitation designs and how you can use minimal art and create some really stunning invitations. And I'm also going to be sharing with you kind of my little bulk create process. Now, one of the things I'm not going to be doing that will um, add a little bit of time into this process, I'm going to give you a little peek, but I'm not going to try to go in each one of them and do that because that's in my preparation for listing process. But I will kind of show you how to get the invitations done. And then later on, I'll do a video on getting them from the design stage to the listing stage. So I really want to concentrate on some of you who want to elevate your designs as far as your invitations go. Learn a few new techniques on how to go about creating these invitations. And anyway, let's get started. So we're going to pop into Create a Design, go into the Fast AI Image Designer, and we are going to go into my personal designs because I'm just going to show you some of the artwork that I went ahead and have created. These are just some designs here that I worked on yesterday, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I created with them. So you can see these are really pretty designs. Okay, and then we're going to go in and play with some of them. But for right now, I'm going to take you sort of into the backwards way here, and we're going to regenerate. So I'm going to be regenerating this design, but I wanted you to kind of see because I basically used volume 2, which is my clip art volume, and I used the AI Artist Playbook, which is volume 1, to get some of the items that I'm using. Volume 2 has an entire, let me just get there. Let's see, 6, 7. Okay, so I have an entire floral and botanical clip art section in volume 2. In volume 1, we have, let's see, I think it's 3. We also have a botanical and a floral clip art section. So that kind of helps you as far as prompting for different designs and things like that. Let's take a look at the floral clip art here. And so you're going to get, when you have this, you're going to be able to, let me just kind of show you. It goes into the different styles and brush strokes, different colors, and then the basic clip art layouts, to ask for. So swags, bouquets, wreaths. If you don't know how to ask for the accents and stuff, then and this gives you phrasing to try to get those looks that you want, then it is fairly complicated to get florals. Today I am going to be working with florals because that is one of the more popular things for your wedding, your baby shower, and also your bridal shower kind of invitation. So that's kind of where I'm going to be today, and then I'll do some more videos later on. But anyway, so we've got our colors here. I'm working with a warm candlelight glow. I'm working on a floral accent, and I've kind of laid out what type of floral I want, and then anyway, I've just kind of loaded this with some of my terms. So I'm going to change the size, the aspect ratio, and then I'm going to do 4 images. And hopefully Artistly will be fairly quick this morning. But let me just show you what we're going to be doing. So this is where I started, and now let me just show you that this is layered. So let me go back to my original, but it is layered. So this is the sort of what I'm going to be showing you is how you can layer your images, how you can really use less florals and still get a really consistent, beautiful look. Let me just pop through the different ones that I have created, and I have used very limited. If you notice, this one and this one are basically the same, but I've used Canva now to change the coloring using filters and also using this new feature where you can actually change the colors through the picker. So you can do that. We'll be playing with that as well. This is the same way. This is the same invitation, yet I was able to add it into a different color scheme. And then look at this one. Now, this is just amazing that I was able to take the images and then we have a totally different look there. Adding another color background, you see what a difference it makes in the invitation. Another background. And then this is really pretty. A different layout. Again, another layout. A different color for the other layout here. And then a different design floral. And actually this should have been pulled down here. And then you can see how I took and made a totally another different version, changing the background and changing the looks. So think about these things when you're designing, because if you're designing one invitation and then you're starting all the way over, you're wasting time, productivity time, when you can bulk design, I guess would be what I would say. I did these in the span of maybe an hour, maybe that long, creating the art and designing them because I was doing it in bulk. And that's where a lot of designers, I believe, kind of miss the mark, is they go in and have an individual mindset instead of a bulk mindset. But once you get to designing, a lot of times your brain warms up, your creativity warms up, and you get in the flow of things. And once you're in the flow of things, then actually you're producing a lot better. It's not like it's cookie cutter. None of these are really cookie cutter. It's just showing the variety, because a lot of people may like, let's just say, let's go back to this one. They may like the design of this one, but they may want different colors. So you can basically use this same layout, but change the colors. You can even, and we're going to be showing you how you can actually use different art, but a similar layout like this. And there are thousands and thousands of layouts. And once you kind of learn basic layouts, then you'll be creating your own layouts. I've been doing it a long time. So, and then this is another variation of this art, but it's a totally different invitation. This could be done. Let's show you what it would look like if we took this and see, I'm duplicating my page in Canva. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this background, and now you see how it looks with a white background. And now I have even another invitation. Another thing you could do is create like a linen or a canvas background. I'm just going to grab an element. Now, you know that a canvas texture. I'm going to go into the graphics part, and then I'm going to also choose the free ones because I don't want to put anything in that's not a, okay, texture background. And that's not exactly what I want. I don't really want that either. I really want a texture. I would probably go in and then select and create one. I don't really see one. I'm going to just, for the sake of everything, I'm going to undo that and look at the textures. Texture background, canvas. I would not use this in my final design. I just wanted to show you what that texture would look like. Okay, so if we had this canvasy background, or this actually almost looks like a burlap, we can position it then all the way to the back, and then you see that you could, add a texture to it. I'm not crazy about that texture, but, you could do it. I'm going to remove it because I don't want to get confused when I go to list these and have that image that I'm not supposed to use in a commercial element. In a commercial design. So let's go back into Artistly now. Okay, so here are some of our images that it came up with. I really like this one. So I think we're going to start with it. So I'm going to download this one. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to use the Canva interface to remove my background and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to duplicate this page. And then now I'm going to work with this. So I've got my design. It's saved. I have it saved. I'm going to remove these here. This is another thing. Once you get things kind of laid out, like this is for, I've got baby shower. Honestly, these would be better for like a wedding shower probably. I haven't changed them or whatever out. So I can go back in and change that. I just kind of got on a design streak and I just went with it. So again, when you have all of these elements worked out, it's so much easier to just copy that and then start from that. You can then go in and change the writing and the style and font. You can move them around, but you already have your text blocks. You already have kind of what you need. And that saves you from starting from scratch all over again. So all of these, I basically use the same thing, and then I wiggle them around. We can change the name. We can change, like I said, the font, the color, all that very easily that way. But that's just sort of a time-saving tip. Okay, and I'm sure many of you that are watching already do all this stuff, so that's fine. This is for the little tips along, that you don't know about. Or that you already know about. Some other people probably don't. So that's why I try to put them in there. Let's go and upload that image. So we've got this image here. And then now you're going to see my raw design everything. So this is just how I would start. I'm going to remove this background. Okay. And I'm going to start out with the, just the white background. Okay, so now how can we use this image besides like this? Now we could do it like this, and that's very pretty. And then that's an invitation right there. Could move this over a little bit. And we've basically created an invitation just with that one piece of clip art that's very pretty. It's a pretty element. Okay, so now let's just copy that one. We're going to duplicate it, and we're going to start getting a little bit fancier. Okay, so we've kept that one. We're going to play with this now. So let's play with the color first off, and let's choose a different color. We can just play around with the colors if we want them lighter or darker. And if we want them lavender. Okay, let's go with the lavender. Here, let's go with a darker. Nope, let's go back. Let's reverse that one. Okay, let's just go with that. Okay, so we've got that. And that's really pretty. So I'm probably going to copy that one now just to keep it. Duplicate it. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go in, make this white, and then we've still got this, but I'm going to start playing with my image. So let me show you how you can use this image and get different looks. Okay. All right, so I've got this piece right here, and I'm going to find my handlebars, and then play with my sizing a little bit. And now I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to turn it around. Flip it. Turn it like this. There we go. All right, so I'll flip it like that. Position it backward like that. And now we have all the flowers kind of front facing. And I have this where I can move it this way and this one, so I can kind of move it that way. And down here, we're going to grab that one and see if we can make it go a little teensy bit different. Okay, now what we're going to do is shift all of this down a little bit. And that one alone would be really pretty. But so I'm going to save it. I'm going to duplicate it. And as you noticed, we're using one piece of clip art. We have changed the color now. We have gotten 2 different invitations with multiple variations of that invitation. So now we've made a copy of this one. We're going to duplicate it again. And then we're going to add just a little touch right there. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so we can get a little bit more in detail in there. Okay, so we've got that there. Then I'm going to, let's do it like that. Okay, now we're going to do it again. We're going to duplicate this one again. And then we're going to, whoops, I went to the wrong thing. Where are we at? This one? This one. Bless me. Goodness. Sorry about that. And then we're going to put, goodness gracious, that's the only thing about working with these like this is sometimes you have to be real careful. Okay, so now we're going to add this and add it like this. And now we've got another lovely invitation. And again, we've used one piece of clip art, and it's all about how you use that piece of clip art. If somebody looked, they would think that this was a whole unit right there, but you basically built it. You framed it. So if you're learning invitations, I would advise you to look at you start looking at the invitations or the canvas and visualizing different flows of things. Look in nature, look how trees tend to, their branches, how the curve of their branches and things like that. And then you can carry those over into your design work. So be sure and leave me a comment. I'm contemplating possibly doing a whole workshop on this. It probably would be a small charge, but if you would be interested in a little bit more in-depth training, possibly even a live training session where you would be able to send me, an invitation to work on or something like that, then let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in anything like that. I'm also working on some other little things to do with invitations. But anyway, so now that we have this beautiful invitation, then what else can we do with it? Let's duplicate it again, and then what we're going to do is we're going to try to grab all of this and group them if we can. And then we're going to work on like the colors. So can we now go back and change this, basically change these into more of a peachy look, and that's very pretty. So just in a few seconds, we have basically changed this into a more peachy design. And again, this is a different variation. Brides, especially, whether it's a baby shower or whatever. Now, could you go back in and make this look a little bit more for a baby shower? If you wanted to use the pretty items like this, how would you go in and how would you potentially turn this into something for a baby shower? And I'm just, for the sake of time, I'm going to go into some of my folders and look for a bit and see if I can find something that would work. Okay, so a lot of my things are not coming up. Let's see. There we go. This is kind of what I was looking for. So could you, I'm going to try this one. Okay, let me remove the background and show you how you could take this. And what I'm going to do, there's a couple of ways you could do it. We could go into edit and we can go into magic eraser, and I can basically erase all of these things here so that I can just use the bear on the swing. That greenery would be okay. Even those peach flowers would probably be okay. But I'm just going to erase as much of them as I can. And I'm gonna show you how you could go in and add this little bear. So what you could do is you could actually take the little bear, go down like this, and more like this. And you could shift this backwards so that, whoops, nope, he's got to go forward. Okay, so this needs to go back, and back. There we go. Now we can shift this over a tiny bit and grab our honoring. Shift it over, our Alyssa, shift it over, and then shift this just a tiny bit. Then we can move our bear down a little bit more, make it a little bit smaller, and then we would, of course, take our swing would have to go up where it's coming from the top there. Now, another way that we could do it, and I'm going to save this one. So I'm going to make a duplicate of this one. And then what I'm going to do is then I'm going to play with getting it down here. Let's make the bear a little bit bigger. Like, how much bigger would we have to make it to make it? Okay. So what we're doing now is we're going to try to get the bear where the bear is hanging from behind the, kind of behind the flowers. So let's get it where it'll position backward, 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 like that. And then make it go a little bit more like this. And then like that. Okay. Okay, so the bear needs to come forward like that. But then we need a little bit to cover up that. So what we're going to do is take this, we're going to duplicate it. Let's ungroup it. And then we're going to duplicate this part. And then we can take and play with the florals over the top of it so that it's covering up, not covering the bear, but covering the ropes for the swing. So we're going to actually kind of pull it up like this and have it. There we go. Now, then what we're going to do is that has to go backward enough that we can we need to get this. Okay. We're going to take it, move it down here. We're going to go back here and we're going to go backwards. Forward. Move that like that. And this is going to be moved backwards behind there. Okay. There we go. So now the little bear is there. And then we've got the baby shower thing that we can work with here. And yes, it is making it go down a little bit smaller with that bigger bear, but I'm just kind of working with what I've got. So you could easily have a smaller bear. You could, play with that a little bit more, but it's still really cute. And here is the Alyssa. Can go a tiny bit smaller. And then this can also, what we could do is we could break this up a little bit and put the date. We can ungroup it. We can move these items. Like, let's leave the date there. Let's just move where it's going to be and the RSVP down here. And we could make that a little bit bigger. So you just kind of play with the elements until you get them the way you want them. We're going to make this a little bit bigger so you can read it. Group those, move them down a little bit. So it's an eyeball thing. You know, you want to make sure that everything is lined up properly. So here we've actually made this into something that would be really cute for a baby shower. You could also leave the, let's go back to the original one. Well, this one. Well, let's look at this one that didn't have anything. And you could pop some little bunnies or something right here on the edge, right there. Let me see if I can find a bunny. Bitty bunnies, mossy bunnies, moss bunny. The mossy bunnies. Let's see. More bunnies, natural bunnies. Let's do the natural bunnies. So let's find a cute one. Let's just try this one. So we could do a little bunny here. And then we could do maybe this little bunny. We could flip it and have it sitting kind of here. Like that. And then we could actually take this one and raise it up a little bit like that. This one, raise it back down like that or over like that. Like that. So there you've got some little bunnies. Maybe like that. Make his ear go where it's supposed to go. So there you have another one that you could do. You could even change the color of the bunny a little bit if you wanted to. Play with his color, the coloring a little bit. There's so many things you could do. So anyway, there's that one. Now let me just start with a new one. We're going to take this one, duplicate it, and then we're going to go back into Artistly. And we are going to, let's make something new. We're going to take this one, but we're going to do it in a different, try a few different things and see what we get. This one is stained glass. Let's see what kind of effect we get and if we can make a pretty invitation with it. Now we're using that same prompt that we used. Ooh, that's pretty. So what can we do with that? Let's try. It's not your traditional what we would think about for a bridal or wedding invitation. We're going to move all this stuff off. And I mean, you can easily just start with your blank, but like I said, I'm just doing what I can do the quickest so that I can do it faster for you, because I would spend a lot more time playing around with things. Let's see. Why has that not? download. Okay. There we go. Okay. For some reason, there was a little bit of a delay. Okay. So now let's see what we can do and if we can come up with something really pretty with this. Again, I'm doing it from... I love the colors of I love those flowers. I think they're awesome. So what can we do? We can flip this vertically, and then we can grab those flowers. Okay. So now we have those pretty flowers. Let's see if we can get it pulled in where we have more leaves. So we have these pretty flowers. And we could do the same thing. We could take and copy and duplicate it. We're going to move all this up and group it. Okay. So let's just sort of do that. Let's copy it. And then let's move it down here. Let's flip it vertically so that we have down here. Oops. Go back where I was at. That's the thing we have to be really careful of. Okay, so we can also flip it horizontally so that we have just a little variation. And I didn't remove the backgrounds on these, so we're going to go ahead and remove the backgrounds. Most of the time when I bring my images in, I've already removed the backgrounds and upscaled them and all that. But like I said, I'm just working on... Okay, so we're going to do this. And let's change this to bridal shower. Let's make this bigger, a little bit bigger. And we can also adjust our line spacing so it's a little tighter and not spread out so much. That makes it look a little bit better. Okay, so we could leave it as is, just like this. Put all of our stuff back in there together. This would come down here. This would go here. Unless it could be a little bit smaller. This could go here. We could actually lower this down a little bit. Okay, so we've got it like that. So that's an invitation that we've done. And, you know, we've been able to use that even though that was not, it wasn't just the floral. So I want you to think outside of the box when you're designing, because that's kind of what designing is, out of the box, from your brain, creativity. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this one because this one's okay. We're going to now take and put a background with it. So what could we do? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, again, duplicate this. And then what we're going to do is remove the background. And then we're going to see if we can get a little bit of this stained glass kind of look out of this. Okay, so here we've got the stained glass. Okay, now we're going to take and adjust that transparency so we get just those little lines and everything, which is kind of cool. And then we're going to go into position it, and we're going to make it go backwards all the way to the back. And then we just realized this one wasn't removed. Look how absolutely cool that is. And all you did was work with the background and with this really funky stained glass looking image. So we took this image. Let's look at what it looked like before. We took this image and we turned it into that. Okay, now let's do this again. Let's duplicate the whole thing because I kind of like that one and I may use it in my store. Okay, so now we've duplicated again. Let's duplicate this image. And now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate it around and start seeing if we can do even more crazy things with it. Okay, so we've got this. Let's get it a little bit bigger here. So now we've got this overlay image. Let's move everything, shift it over like this. And we could leave it like this. We can pull this up, make this a little bit bigger too. So yeah, so that it's a little bit bigger. And this one too. There we go. So that's really pretty too. I'll probably shift this over just a teensy tad so it's not crowding it. We would need to adjust all of our writing. Make sure that you're kind of adjusting it to allow for the image itself. Okay, so here we have this, and so that's a cute one. We could then take that same one, duplicate it, remove that this background. We could remove that, leave it like that. We could also duplicate it again, and we could pull out and add a shape. Tools. We could add a shape, and we could pull out a color from the image. Those are some really pretty jewel tone images there. And we're looking for the stained glass one. So maybe the gold. We could take and we could move the transparency down on the gold. Then we could cover it all like this, and then we would position this to the back, and then we would have that light transparency. If we don't like that color, we can go in and we could look again at the different ones and play with the different colors. Now, this is something too that you could do. Now, keep in mind that when you're designing for people to print things, if they're going to be printing them at home to use, you're going to want to be especially careful and considerate of designing things that are going to be ink sensitive, because ink is expensive on a lot of the printers that people use, and you don't know what their situation is, so you want to be careful of that. So this, you can do like, see, we could go in and we could do black, which is really pretty with this. We would go in then and we would change the color of the writing and everything, and pick up one of the, we could pick up the gold, which is very pretty. And we could make it this way, but just be aware that some people are not going to, they may not realize it's going to take so much ink. So you're kind of risking them getting it and then realizing, oh my gosh, this is going to be a full thing. And some people's printers may not print that black ink, as pretty as it should be. This is a beautiful invitation, but you may want to mention that designed for professional printing or something to that effect if you're going to utilize using the black background or the really dark background. But these are just beautiful. I'm really pleased with the way those turned out with Artistly. So, and with the Playbooks, of course. So, anyway, this is just, like I said, I just wanted to give you some food for thought, some design magic that you can implement and play with. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid of bold. I've been working with several people on some invitations within my group. And one of the things that I see people do a lot of the time, and I know they get tired of me sounding like a broken record, but be big and bold. When most of the time when people are getting an invitation, yes, what the invitation says is important, but most people are going to click through to your invitation by the visual, the art that is on that invitation. So when you do a invitation and it is a totally blank space and you have one or two little tiny little images on it, it's not enough to catch anybody's eye. When they are scrolling through on Etsy, let me just show you. Let me go over to Etsy. I'm going to try to go there without it taking me into my shop. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so when we go there and we just search for wedding invitations, let's just look. Okay, so either you're going to have the minimal ones, which that's fine. Minimal is still bold because in this case of this minimal invitation, your writing is your image, and you see how big this is. So that's what catches your attention. So a lot of people misunderstand and think that just because it's minimal and it's writing, that it's not the same concept as having art, but it is, because this just love is almost like a logo-ish type of a thing. And this itself, the being very large like this, takes the place of your image in a minimalist looking thing, invitation. But look at this. Now see, this is bold. This is a large image. It stands out. Again, here, Amanda and Thomas is large, so that is catching your eye. It's not small and dainty. This one, has it has art that you see. This one has a large pattern. This one has a large image. This is big and bold. It has a big and bold floral design, and it shows out. Does that mean all of the ones you're going to see? See, nothing fancy. That's minimal, but it's also very large, and it you can see it. This one has a large border. This has a large fonts, and it also has a large image. So don't be afraid to use the larger images, because if you don't do that sort of thing, then you're going to, like, this one is a large image, this one is large writing. You've got to have something that when people are scrolling like I'm doing now, it's going to stand out. And like, for instance, this right here, although I understand it's a whole pack and everything, it's really hard. So I would probably, this would catch my attention before this would, even though, it only has two elements shown. I like the way they show all the different elements in the video portion. When you click on it, you get to see all the various other things rather than having it where this doesn't have a video where it zooms in or anything like that. So that one is harder for me to see. And now let's look here. Okay, so let's look at some florals that stand out. Let's do this. Let's do floral wedding invitations, because that's going to show us what are like the best sellers in the floral scope of things. And this is now for weddings, but this one's a bestseller. And see, it has a large floral design. This one's a bestseller. So you see that this design, these frames with florals. You also see that right now I've done bold, which is fine. I will put them in my store because from time to time and season to season, the colors change. This reminds me of Bridgerton, that style, that very vintagey style. Now this one's a little brighter, but a lot of the ones that are like the best sellers are using those. These are a lot of wildflowers for the summer. You're going to begin to see that kind of change going into the fall. You'll start seeing, those fall weddings will gravitate more towards some of the darker things. But you can see here, there's a lot, how those styles are. And the thing about it is, the technique that I just showed you, you can do the same thing. You can create these same types of images with that. So, but the ones that really stand out, and then you're going to see which ones are, you can go into Insight Factory. And we can look up floral wedding invitations. And of course, we want digital products. So you can see which ones are trending. See, here's a lavender, and you see how large the image is. This with the large floral down the side. So you can find lots of different trending ones that are using those large things. So it's really important to look at what people are actually buying through the trends and stuff, and then try to, you don't want to copy them, but if most of the trending items have very large florals or whatever, then you're going to want to replicate what people are buying. See, this is cute. This one is sort of a way that I was telling you could use the floral, and then you could add the element like we added the bear. Let me see if I can find that one in particular, this one here. So this shows you how you can add elements in there. And this one, they've even sprinkled some little florals, and that's kind of cute too. But how you could add like the champagne glass and stuff. But anyway, let's go back to, oops, that's not it. Okay, so anyway, I think you get the picture. I hope this has been a valuable video for you. Remember that the volumes of the AI Artist Playbook series are bestsellers. Lots of people are using them, and I invite you to check them out. Volume 1 is around 400 pages. Volume 2 is 279 pages. I have the color playbook. There's also a junk journal playbook. Reminder that the junk journal playbook is only available on Gumroad, and check the down in the description for the links to all the different ones. So check them out. They're very affordable. Still have a lot of them on sale. And so it's a good time to stock up with them, because you can just use the information in them forever. And it will help you design faster, more creatively. It, together with Artistly, has been such a winning combination for me and for my personal products. And of course, I keep continuing these videos to help you grow in your stores and in your products and your goals, like reaching your goals. And I appreciate each and every one of you for watching and supporting my channel. And there is a link for Artistly. If you don't already have Artistly, go for the full package if you can, because it has all the elements that I'm showing you. And they really, with version 5, they really, really, really just pulled out all the stops, and they've given us a lot more tools to play with. There's the bulk actions, there's the AI Art Illustrator, different variables. There's just so many different ways between it and the playbooks. You'll have a winning combination. But I hope you've enjoyed this little peek into how I design invitations, and you can take that and you can also apply it to different other types of invitations. I'll probably do one on birthday cards and birthday invitations soon. So keep watching and be sure and leave a comment with ideas on other videos you'd like to see me do for you. I definitely try to answer all the comments at this point. So be sure and pop a little comment down there. If you haven't already, please join my Facebook group. It's free. Lots of other information available there and help. And also my Creative Dispatch newsletter that's once a week has lots of great information. It's also free. All the links are down in the description. And thanks for watching. And until next time, happy creating.